to the computer. All right. Well, good morning. And I'm excited because I've got my good friend Norm with me today. And, it's always good to see Norm. Outside of being a Cowboys fan, Norm and we're like this until the fall season comes around. But that's okay. Friendship and brotherhood is thicker than teams. But that's all right with me. I'm so excited to have you with us today on our Level Up show, our podcast. We've got a number of people here on the panel, but also a number of great listeners. So Norm, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself and what you're currently doing for work?
Sounds good. And on a side note, I'm still hoping and praying that you will change your mind about the Cowboys one day.
Many have taken that on that great
task. I still can't understand it. I also think that might be a problem with you going to heaven one day.
I may have to borrow your wings, but I know that Jesus
right.
is the North Star.
Oh man, that's right. Look, we have wings, man. Hey everyone, I'm Norman Fuschulte. Crazy last name. That's because I'm German originally. I've had a quite interesting career journey. In my life, I've been fortunate enough to travel around the world. I lived in Africa for 5 years. I've lived in the Middle East and Iraq for 3 years. I lived in Spain for a year. I speak multiple languages. Because of that, I came to the States in '96. I think that dates my, I just dated myself there, but met my beautiful wife. We just celebrated our 23rd wedding anniversary. And I'm fortunate enough to have worked for the Disney company down in Florida, and now I work for the Eagles, and I've been working for the Eagles for the past 9 years. In my job, I'm officially the director of fan experience, but we wear different hats down there. We're actually a multi-billion-dollar organization that is run by like 150 people, believe it or not. So I oversee all the staffing in our stadium, 750 people to report directly up to that role. And we have service partners. So I'm responsible for helping with some of the trainings and some of the policies and implementing some of the fan experiences and guest services philosophies with that staff. I also oversee our season ticket member services department. We have 14,000 plus season ticket member accounts. And so we service all of them, whether it comes to payments and ticketing and special events and all the, training camp invites and all of that. And then I also get to work with our sustainability department. So our Go Green efforts, we don't just have the color green, but we're also one of the most sustainable teams in the entire world. We're 100% landfill free. We have the largest solar power plant in the NFL. And so I got to be the official spokesperson for that. And I've been able to travel all over the world for that. Been able to speak to United Nations on behalf of the Eagles and the NFL on that. And have worked, with various organizations in the world to just share an incredible sustainable journey and how the Eagles are really one of the front runners there. And so, Chip, that's what I get to do on a daily basis. The funny thing is, people, when I talk to some of our interns or some of the kids that, that are really aspiring to have a job like mine, I always say, look, I'll tell you what I do on a daily basis. Once in a while, I'll go and I'll scan tickets at our gate, another time I'll sort through 1,000 pieces of uniform. It's very strange how the job is such a you get to do incredible things, but you also get to do some really not so incredible things, which is fun and I enjoy it.
So Norm, when everything from grabbing tickets to being a spokesperson at the UN, that's absolutely fantastic. When you think about your journey and when you equate it with, our subject matter today is work ethic. And when you look at that as, your journey from Disney to where you're at today and what you're doing today, how does work ethic play into what you've been doing and what the employees that you oversee and work with?
Yeah, it's funny because I have 2 teenagers and you try to teach work ethic, right? And how important that is, and I'll give you an example. And I think I kind of was taught that by life. I think, my father was a very hard worker and, I had to do lots of work around the house. I remember for used bicycle. I had to paint our fence, which took me like 3 or 4 days to do, and I hated it and every minute of it. I didn't enjoy any of it. But I learned that from very early age that you have to really work hard to achieve something in life. Not that I really enjoyed it, and I just like I think so many other people, I was always hoping for the quick buck, and but when I was fortunate enough to have a great job, making close to a six-figure salary, 2008 came around and I actually lost that job. And I was already part-time working for Disney for fun. But then I had to decide to go full-time working for Disney, and I didn't make much money at all. In fact, when you go work there full-time, it's not necessarily for an executive role right away, and I remember there was a day when I had a costume on. I was literally a safari driver at Animal Kingdom, and I thought, wow, I'm going to drive a safari truck. But guess what? I was parking strollers. That was one of my jobs, parking strollers. Here I was, I had a family. I was like, what am I doing, Chip? What am I doing?
So how do you, Norm, think about that. You're parking strollers.
I was like, I was made for more in life than parking strollers. And here's the kicker: a 20-year-old coordinator came up to me and said, "You're not doing it right. Let me show you how to park these strollers." And I'll tell you, this I believe was a turning point in my life, because there were two options I had in that moment. One option was to be extremely prideful and say, "Do you know who I am? How many languages I speak? How many places I've lived? Have you ever even left Florida?" Right?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea who I am? I certainly know how to park a stroller. But that would have been one choice.
Yeah.
My other choice was to just shut up, just listen, and tell myself I am going to be the best stroller parking employee, cast member that Disney has ever seen.
Wow.
And in a short 5 years, I believe because of that attitude, I became an official spokesperson of Disney, traveling the world for Disney. And I remember two really cool events. One was speaking to 50,000 people from the Magic Kingdom Castle stage at the Walt Disney World happy birthday 40th anniversary. From the best stroller parking employee to speaking at a castle stage to 50,000 people. I'll tell you what, I think that was my turning point. And I've carried that with me. I know
that's a fantastic story.
What you do, you have to work hard. And by the way, whenever you do work hard, you will always meet people like my stroller coordinator who, I don't know whether maybe they feel good imposing power over other people. Maybe some people feel good about putting you down because they feel better about themselves. I don't know what it is, but you got to look past that, right? You have to look past that. And you just got to buckle down and you got to work, because eventually it comes back to you. It may not in that very moment, right? You may feel really down and out. I mean, I tell you what, Chip, there were days when I was devastated. I was like, am I literally parking strollers? What am I going to tell my children? I mean, I thought of myself, I'm going to be this great guy. I'm going to, and I think I've learned the hard way that, you know what, you just got to work hard and you just got to buckle down and life will turn,
Wow.
Eventually something will come. And I don't know how I find myself here in this position, Chip, having been on the bus, celebrating with millions of fans at the Super Bowl parade, when we won the Super Bowl. And, I'm sure.
And you have a real Super Bowl ring.
That's right. I don't know how that happened. It's by the grace of God. It's by, I guess me at that turning point saying to myself, you know what, I'm just not gonna listen to the noise. I'm just gonna really do my job, do it well, and eventually it'll pay off.
So let me ask you this, Norm. That's just incredible. The idea you got this 20-year-old kid badgering you about strollers, right? And such a turning point. You could have taken this different response that would have sent you down a different path. And yet you chose this humble route and this work ethic route, and it paid off at Disney. Now, when you think about that whole experience, And now you fast forward to coming to the Eagles organization. How was that transition, and how did that help you with the task that was at hand for you with the Eagles?
Um, I think that I would have not been able to do the job at the Eagles if it wouldn't have been for what I learned working on the front lines at Disney. Chip, how on earth would I be able to now lead 700 plus on a larger scale, 3,000 plus employees if I didn't experience what it feels like on the front lines? Also, what it feels like when you have a young manager come up to you and tell you that they know how to do it better. And, because look, some of the staff that I lead, are folks that already have worked their whole lives. And this is just maybe a job after their career, or this is they're 50, 60 years old and this is their job, right? Or they've been their whole life in a wheelchair, or they, or a young college student who thinks they're the next coming, just like I did, right? So there's such a variety of employees. And I think if I wouldn't have been there myself and experienced it myself, and gone through the emotions myself, I think that's a big one. I think really gone through those emotions and realizing that there is no quick fix, it's not like you park strollers great one day and all of a sudden the next day you're the official spokesperson of Disney, right? There's another day you park strollers, and another day and another day and another day and another day. Eventually it pays off, right? I think if I wouldn't have had that experience, I don't think that I would be able to, I don't want to say of myself as a decent leader here. I think I feel like I've made it 9 years, and our scores have gone up and our fan experience has gone up. And I think what I hear from our game day staff is they really do enjoy it, but there's always room for improvement. But I'm not saying I'm great, but I think we have a very good operation, and I think it wouldn't have been possible if I wouldn't have been there myself and learned that myself.
So, wow, Norm, that's pretty amazing. If you were to sit down and speak to a young 18, 19-year-old individual who has had a very, very challenging life scenario, and
Yep.
they are coming to possibly work on the front lines there with the Eagles, what advice would you give them if they're starting on the front line and nobody knows them, there's no reputation? What advice would you give them? Obviously, the Eagles is a billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them as they're trying to get themselves to move forward?
Goodness, I think you could give so much different advice, right? I think one word that keeps coming up throughout my career journey, and me and the CFO and the president always joke around, right? Because you can take a class at Disney for 3 days, pay $5,000 to attend this incredible class by these incredible speakers. And in the end, no matter what class you take, it comes down to one word, and that is care. It's amazing. No matter what book you read, no matter what, it's just one word: care. And I really try to myself put that into practice and try to really teach and preach that to my staff. If you sincerely care for what you're doing on a daily basis at your job and your home life, the moment you step onto the train, get off the train, no matter where you are, if you really care for your environment, you won't throw that paper on the street when no one's watching, by the way. You'll help that person down the stairs. You'll help carry the grocery bags, right? You hold the door open for someone. You smile. I always tell whenever I train my staff, I tell them, look, I'm not saying that some of you don't come from really challenging backgrounds. Some of you might be here right now. This is what I usually say in my classes, right? When we have the orientation, I say, some of you here might right now look at me and say, who is this guy? How is he going to tell me, come to work, put on a smiling face and do great? You have no idea what goes on in my home. The challenges I face day in and out. I'm not, and you're absolutely right, I don't. But one thing I do know, and I have learned, is that you can definitely decide to leave all of that at the door, even if it is just for a few hours, and decide to care and decide to 100% give. Just give, and take all those thoughts, all those emotions out of your brain, out of everything, like the anger, the bitterness, the life has treated me wrong, and all that stuff that rightfully you feel, because you have had it hard, right? You can leave it all out there and give, and it is amazing what can happen when you do that just for a couple of hours. I have some of my staff members, they have just incredibly challenging backgrounds. When I talk to them individually, when I walk around and I try to meet as many as I can on a game day, I hear some stories that are heartbreaking, Chip. But man, I tell you what, the greatest employees, because literally heartbreaking stories, incredible life challenges, and they're out there and they're my best employees. They will go no matter where you send them, no matter what you ask them to do, they will do it and then some. And I can trust them 100%, no matter what equipment, no matter how much money, no matter whatever they are given with as a responsibility, they will handle and then some. Amazing.
Wow. Wow.
And sometimes I tell some of these 18-year-olds that don't have life stories like that. I say, go to so-and-so and talk to them before you complain to me, because they have it a lot harder than you, and
Yes.
they're doing an amazing job for not that much money. So,
Wow.
that's usually what I try to convey.
Come on. Well, Norm, I can't thank you enough. This is these are just nuggets, gold nuggets, and I appreciate you taking the time to always serve down here at ODAT with us, and just trying to help everyone. And I appreciate that about you. The things that you're sharing, I see them in your heart. I see them in your life.
I appreciate
and your
it, Chip.
family. And
I appreciate it. I still got lots to learn, believe me.
well, we'll keep learning together.
There are those days, Chip. There are those days. They get to me too.
They come and they go. But
there's people sometimes you're like, what are you thinking right now?
There you go. There you go. Well, Norm, I can't thank you enough. Thanks so much for joining us, man. And
hey, Chip, go Eagles.
Wait, I'm twitching. Something's wrong. Hey, I love you, man. Thanks so much for being with us. I appreciate you.
Yeah, have a good one.
You got it.